Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. I'm Kamal Vora. I am the current Secretary General of the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce. I'm happy to welcome all of you. I would request my colleague Trupti to introduce President Rajalakshmi Rao, who I'm happy to share with you is the first woman president of ISCC in 52 years. So let's hear for Rajalakshmi Rao.
Nanik also is coming. Good evening, everyone, and good morning to those who are attending this from US, because some of them attended in the morning or pharma sessions. They may just join. It gives me great pleasure to extend a warm welcome to all of you on behalf of Indo-American Chamber of Commerce. ISCC completed 52 years of existence and has taken the center stage in facilitating smooth exchange of Indo-US bilateral trade used between both the countries. Today, ISCC has around 2,000 members representing cross-section of US and Indian industry. The geographical spread of ISCC is unique as it operates through 10 offices located throughout the country. We are focusing on the core vision of providing a platform for the business entities, especially medium and small companies, and extend support to them to come together and be partners in progress. In ISCC, we have been holding a number of webinars on Corona-19 to discuss the impact of the pandemic both at the national and regional levels. Our idea is to help governments at the center and state levels, industry and other development agencies to discuss the impact threadbare from all aspects, be it financial, supply chain, demand, compression, employment, or health issues to bring the stakeholders to a consensual path. Naturally, our main focus is on Indo-US economic engagement and growth. And we have done one webinar every third day in the past 6 months between regions and the head office. So we have really connected to all the subjects through our regions and all our members. Now, this session is been supported in the morning by Indian Drug Manufacturers Association and Optimus and ACG. I'm very glad to inform you that we had impressive session in the morning. These were technical sessions addressed by Mr. Tim Fisher, Principal Partner, Great Solutions LLC, and Dr. Ranjana Pathak, President, Global Quality, Medical Affairs and Pharmacovigilance, Cipla Limited. Dr. Leticia Robinson, Country Director, USFDA, India Office, and Dr. Sarah Macmillan, Deputy Country Director, USFDA, India Office, had actually spoken to us in the morning, along with Mr. Mahesh Doshi, National President, IDMA, and Dr. Perizad Elchidana, Principal Technical Consultant, Pharma, ACG, Worldwide. In continuation in our morning sessions, the third session is now concentrating on the biotech sector, which will be addressed by Dr. Krishna Yella, Chairman and Managing Director, Bharat Biotech International Limited, Mr. Ajit Singh, Chairman, ACG Worldwide, and our own Nanik Rupani, who is Chairman, Neutron Electronic Systems Private Limited, but he's a mentor of Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, and personally for me also. He has been the reason, he is instrumental in bringing me into Indo-American Chamber, and that's how I have moved on to the Western region, being a president of that, and now national. So I'm completely indebted to my mentor, Mr. Nanik Rupani. Before I request him to give a welcome remark, I would like to give a brief introduction. Everybody in Bombay know him, but I just have to mention a little bit. Mr. Rupani is Chairman of Rupmek Electricals Private Limited and Chairman Emeritus of Priyadarshini Academy. He is the Principal Advisor of MIT Group of Institutions, Pune. He is also Trustee of Lilavati Hospital and Research Center, Neurology Foundation and Indusine Foundation. Mr. Rupani is Advisory Board Member and Trustee of various firms' education institutions, including Hyderabad Sindh National Collegiate Board and Sophia Sri Basant Kumar Somani Memorial Polytechnic College. He is the Ambassador, International Extension, Giants International, the Vice Chairman, Indusine International Federation, Chairman of Mumbai Development Committee, and Member, Managing Committee, and IMC Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Earlier, he was past president also of IMC. Mr. Rupani has a wide list of previously held positions. He was the regional president of Indo-American Chamber of Commerce in 2012-2014. More than this, he just had a global awards function of Priyadarshini Academy. I mean, the topmost people have attended and taken the awards from him and his institute, and they're doing amazing work. And I just couldn't believe across the world people have come in to receive these awards just last week. So he is a man of action and has been extremely supportive of Indo-American Chamber of Commerce. And from all our members, I fully thank him today for his continued support to us. Now, may I request Mr. Nanik Rupani to say a few words about healthcare in India.
Thank you, Raj Lakshmi ji, President of IACC, National President, and the dignitaries who are taking part in this webinar. I can say that she is very dynamic. The way she has taken IACC to the next level, it is really remarkable, because whatever she touched, she is totally dedicated, devoted, and committed. And I would say we are proud of her. The way she has been doing this webinar in spite of COVID and so many shortcomings, but I think she has left so many presidents away from the way she has been doing this. We are proud of you. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, and my cooperation to IACC will always be there. And my compliments to you for this convention. I will not take much of your time, but I would like to take on this healthcare, in India. I think it is getting a lot of beating. I'm a trustee of Lilavati Hospital. I'm also trustee of Neurology Foundation, which is headed by Dr. Singhal, one of the leading neurophysicians in this country. Then Vision Foundation of India. We will be doing almost 1 million operations, cataract operation free in last so many years. Totally free. But today it is very sad. The government many state government, they have not understood how the healthcare hospitals should be run. Today, all hospitals in Bombay are bleeding. They are bleeding because I'm talking about Lilavati Hospital. We are losing almost 6.5 to 7 crores a month. 6.5 to 7 crores a month. All other hospitals are also losing. I don't think anybody will even to venture in future to bring a new hospital, because it's something really very sad, because they have done a cap. We can't charge more than 4,000 rupees a day to a COVID patient. Even if he wants to go in deluxe or he wants to go in ordinary, it is same. Now, how can you really run a hospital where, earlier 20, 25,000, 30,000, depends upon the which class, ordinary class, super deluxe class, the rates used to vary. So hospital could run, Today, in Lilavati alone, I am talking about, there are more than 180 to 200 healthcare workers, doctors, nurses. They have got COVID. So there's a shortage of nurses. There's a shortage of healthcare, boys. And again, there is a union problem has started that you have to pay us extra for COVID, since we are having a COVID, they are attending a COVID. Now, how can you run an hospital? The doctors are really under stress. There are even so many in, different departments, they are not able to. Today, there is a shortage of nurses. We don't have nurses. And every day I get a call, 3 to 4 calls per day for a bed. No, this COVID started in March. If the government would have really taken seriously, they should have really made an arrangement. And there's no bed available. Now, imagine, what about a person who gets a heart attack? What about person who has got some other problem, urinary problem, and they don't want to go to hospital, because many of these patients who were totally fine, they have got COVID when they have entered the hospital. So my suggestion was even to I've been talking on different webinars, even with Piyush Goyal and Nitin Gadkari, and I have raised this issue. That how can a patient, literally many of the patients saying we would like to die in the compound of hospital if you are not getting a bed. Today also in Times of India, there's an article. Now 80% of the beds of the hospital capacity is reserved for COVID patients, which is under municipal. Now what happens to the people, other people, emergencies? They can't get any treatment for that, because doctors are also scared, and this has been going on. And in 4,000 rupees, how can we can't pay salary, we can't even pay doctor's fee. In Delhi it is 10,000 rupees. I think if they would have allowed to charge more, people who could afford, who could go to the deluxe rooms and other facilities. And I'm told that today even the High Court of Delhi has given a stay that you cannot have 80% reserved for COVID patient. What happened about other persons? People are literally dying because they don't get treatment. I think I'll not take much of your time. Thank you very much. If there's anything else I can do, but we should also work as a pressure group. IICC should work as a pressure group and tell the government. See today how many people are miserable. If anybody wants a medical treatment, he can't get a treatment. It's so sad, So that's my view. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, and my cooperation will always be with you. And I'm proud that today's function, the biotech discussion, you will take it to the next level. Anything you want from me to take up with the ministers in Delhi, or even briefing the members of parliament, we will be too happy to assist you. Thank you very much. Thank you for giving me the
conference call later.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rupani. You have always been a big support and a helping hand to ISCC. And thank you very much for coming and joining us and giving this healthcare situation today, which is the big problem in India. And I'm sure we will take it up with the government at various levels through MPs and ministers, and make it, we are talking about ease of doing business, but I think we have to do something of ease of looking after the healthcare system.
How can ease of doing business if you have no healthcare facilities? Who will come and invest in India? Who will come? Right. It's very difficult. Anyway, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. If you allow me to go, I have got another webinar. I'll be grateful. And thanks a million. Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining.
Thank
you. Now, can I request Mr. Ajit Singh to address us? And I would like to give a small, brief introduction. If the pharma people are listening to this, they all know him. There's nothing I need to do an introduction. But for other members, Ajit Singh is the chairman of ACG Group, formerly known as the Associated Capsules Group of Companies, which is headquartered in Mumbai. He has played a prominent role in the development of pharmaceutical and allied industries in India, and has served as an executive committee member of the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry, a regional council member of the CII, Western Region, and other prominent pharmaceutical associations in India. He has also been conferred with prestigious awards for his contributions and thoughtful leadership to the pharmaceutical industry. Ajit was a founder member of the Young Presidents Organization, India chapter, and the first Indian to be invited to serve on its international board in the USA. More than that, when I talk about Ajit Singh, people just say he is a doyen of the industry. Who doesn't know Ajit Singh? This is what people say. Whoever I spoke to in pharma, they would say, Ajit Singh, what is your worry? If he comes in, your program is set. That is the compliment they give you. Although one knew you as a friend, but now as the chairman of ACG Worldwide, can you please talk to us?
Rajalakshmi, you're eating into my time.
Please start now.
Thank you very much. Well, it's an honor for me to say some opening remarks for this very important conference. Before starting, I'd like to thank my executive assistant, Ketan Parmar, who always plays an invaluable role in making sure that my small talk is successful. We are addressing the most important issue of many decades, and that is the COVID crisis. And today we have, to help us to answer this crisis and to suggest how we're going to face the future, are 5 very important people who are present today, and they have been already introduced by Raja Lakshmi, and so I won't say too much about them, except I would like to talk about Mr. Mahesh Doshi, the chairman of Indian Drugs Manufacturers Association, who was with us this morning and gave an excellent talk. As head of the IDMA, Mr. Doshi has an amazing job, which he also addresses extremely well. Let me just put this off. He has hundreds of Indian pharma companies as members, and he has a wonderful secretariat headed by Dara Patel, a great friend of industry. And I put it to you that if the IDMA was not there, the Indian pharma industry would have no voice. So thank you, Mr. Doshi. I'm sure you'll see the YouTube for having been with us today and giving us all your important news. I'd also like to say a word about Dr. Krishna Ella. He's one of the leaders in the fight against COVID, and his company, which is doing biotech and other great pharma research, is one of the first to look at a novel nasal dosage form for the vaccine. Now, Raja Lakshmi, as head of this organization, Indo-American, this organization is going to play an even greater role in the future. Next, Ketan. Because India is leaning towards the USA. The USA is the richest and most powerful country in the world, and it sees India as a friend. And one of the most important organizations that will help to build more important bridges between Indian businessmen and American businessmen and the people of both these nations is going to be the IACC. So please get ready for this major role that we expect you to play in the future. IACC was founded by no less than the American ambassador, Mr. Chester Bowles, also Mr. Kirloskar, Mr. Harish Bandra, and other luminaries. So we really have important people from both sides, USA and India, who founded this important association. Next, please. We're now in an unprecedented crisis. We have many webinars on COVID so far. There are over 200 pharma research centers around the world who are billions of dollars worth of funding and who are working on a cure. Now, Raja Lakshmi asked me to speak on a little bit of magic which would help to transform this cure, and I take the liberty of doing so. Now, on the left-hand side of this slide, you see the conventional dosage form for administering vaccines of all types, and they're injectables. Now, injectables are the fastest growing dosage form in the pharmaceutical industry, and they will always have a major say in administration of medicines, everything from biotech. But today, we're in a big hurry. We have to vaccinate over 1 billion people in India, 7 billion around the world. And do we look for some other dosage forms today which may help to do the job more cheaply and in a quicker way? And so I put it to you that there has been interesting advances in empty capsules which are taken orally, which can hold both liquid as well as lyophilized powder of the vaccine, and can be presented in a way which is most amenable to India's requirements at the present time. We then have another dosage form, which is the inhalant dosage form, which is like asthmatics use. They have a container and they suck in the powder through their mouth, and that powder settles in the lungs, and the lungs is what the COVID virus attacks in a most significant way. So we have two alternate dosage forms here, which could play a very interesting role, remembering always that injectables do have still a very important role to play. Next, please. So why do we want a new dosage form? What is the magic that can come in this dosage form? First of all, unlike injectables, the capsule gives you no pain and it can be taken even in a small village. It's local. Its cost of the equipment required to make injectables is extremely high and almost all of it is imported. Whereas using capsules in its current form requires local machinery, low cost, and the consumables also in an injectable are very high cost. The needle, the syringe, the packaging, and so on. Whereas the cost in the alternate dosage form is very low. It's affordable. Distribution, very interesting. Magic again. Injectables, vaccines require a cold chain, and cold chain is not available in India, going around India. So while we have more than 200 centers around the world of research and development, developing the answer to COVID virus, people are not giving enough thought to, after the vaccine is available, how are they going to reach the people? Can doctors go there? Mr. Rupani just told us that doctors are completely overworked currently, just handling the current infections. Paramedics are with the doctors in the big cities and wherever the disease is broken out. So we need another method which can be self-administered because doctors simply may not be available. Now, ease of administration, I just talked to you about it. This is another magic. All you have to do is pop the pill. A nurse, an IR nurse in a village can be trained on how to administer, how often. You actually need it only once, but you may need it more than once in this dosage form. Finally, injectables, when you finish with them and they're just thrown away, they present a really big biohazard waste. Now, this doesn't arise with some of the new dosage forms that we're looking at. Why hasn't the world, why has not the pharma industry looked at these alternative dosage forms before? Because the type of capsules and other administration methodologies were not available. A vaccine, like any other biotech product, cannot be taken through the mouth if it has to dissolve in the stomach, because the stomach is acidic and it kills the large molecules. But today there is something called an enteric capsule. The magic of the capsule is it passes through the stomach and it releases its contents in the small intestine, which is not acidic, but it's alkaline. So one looks forward to working with biotech companies and make this into a reality. Next, please. So here you have the COVID vaccine on your left-hand side. But the beauty of these new dosage forms is that they can be printed, and they can be printed with the name of your company in many languages, including the local Indian languages, and it can be beautifully colored to make them attractive. On the right-hand side, you have special shapes of this product so that, and if I may say so, this type of dosage form can even be dosed rectally for babies, cancer patients, and very old-timers who can't swallow and who do not want to get an injection. There are more than 100 million tribals on the edge of forests in India. If they see a doctor in a white coat coming with a syringe, they will just run into the forest. So how are we going to reach all these people with the current dosage forms, at least for vaccines? Next, please. Next, Ketan. And once you get into the new dosage form, you get improved patient compliance. You get multiple medicines that you can put into one dosage form. For example, along with the vaccine, you can put a couple of other medicines into the same dosage form. It's very difficult to do this in an injectable. Finally, what we are looking at now is contemporary technology with, of course, superior performance. And best of all, is all the complete filling and packing systems with lyophilized powder are ready for co-development with the pharma industry. Next, please. So, is this the answer? Do we not need a low-cost method of administration? Do we not need convenience? Because if we don't give attention to this, we will sooner or later get the vaccine, but how will we get the vaccine to the people that need them? Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ajit Singh. It is excellent and informative introductory remarks. And yes, you're talking about magic solutions and easy solutions and biodegradable solutions. And it's very nice to hear, very heartening to know such good work is being done by your company. And I'm so happy you've shared all this positive information for us, and all the tribals can really get benefited, and rural areas, you know, where we don't really have great medical services. Thank you once again. Now we have Dr. Krishna Ella, Chairman and Managing Director, Bharat Biotech International Limited, to deliver a special address. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce Dr. Ella. Dr. Krishna Ella is the Chairman and Managing Director which is of Bharat Biotech, which is incorporated in 1996. A gold medalist at university, Dr. Ella worked as a research faculty at the Medical University of South Carolina, Charleston, after earning his PhD from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. A research scientist in molecular biology, Dr. Ella strongly believes that innovative technology in vaccine development is essential to solve public healthcare problems caused by infectious diseases. Under his leadership, Bharat Biotech has grown to become a global leader in innovative vaccine. As serial entrepreneur with a passion for innovative ideas, Dr. Ella has also ventured into veterinary vaccines, food processing, and developing biotechnology infrastructure in the country. Dr. Ella is also involved in shaping India's science education and policy through his association with several committees such as Scientific Advisory Committee to the Union Cabinet, CSIR Governing Council, CCMB Governing Council, Research Council for CSIR National Laboratories, Board of Visitors, Global Health Institute, University of Wisconsin-Madison. Several awards have been conferred on Dr. Ella, including the ET Now Special Recognition for Healthcare Industry Award, JRD Tata Best Entrepreneur of the Year Award, Marico Innovation Award, and University of South California Asia Pacific Leadership Award. With all this wealth of knowledge and experience, Dr. Ella, you're such a humble man, and it is so kind of you to have agreed to come and speak to us. And now Dr. Ella will be able to give us several penetrating insights into the subject matter. Without taking much of my time from all of you, I request him to deliver his address. Please, Dr. Ella.
Thank you, ma'am. Madam Rao and Vora, and I think the visionary leader, Ajit Singh, I'm a small baby in front of him. I'm honest, I'm telling you, it's a fact, okay? I'm humbled that I'm there, talking to him after him, okay? I think he already introduced in an intelligent manner the subject, how vaccine people should work. So you put me into a little tight spot right now. So you could predict something. That's what the visionaries are. So they can predict a lot of things. And I think I want to thank for all the being invited for me to be present. I think that COVID is a new pathogen, and many Indians would have exposed to a lot of respiratory pathogens. That might be one of the reasons our severity of the disease is not very intense like Italy or US or other countries are, because we have been exposed in childhood itself, a lot of respiratory pathogens. So we don't know what the reason is, but certainly one of the reasons could be a respiratory pathogen might be exposed so much into our condition. And coming to Indian vaccine, people think, Indian vaccines, are we as big as a pharma or anything? But I can tell you one thing, Indian vaccine is the only industry, probably next to US and Europe. Indian vaccine industry third comes in the world. We are far better than even any other world, developing world. And even compared to even China, we are ahead of the technology. So I think that is one thing to proud to say that Indian vaccine manufacturers have done a contributed to the global health point of view, much significant role compared to any other industries in the country, in India. So I think every 2 out of 3 children in the world are being given Indian vaccine, whether it's Serum Institute vaccine or Bharat Biotech vaccine. So 2 vaccines are dominating, whether polio or Rotavirus, Typhoid Conjugate, any of our vaccine, and any of the measles of Serum Institute are dominating in the developing world. And today, I think Africa and Latin America should be grateful to Indian vaccine manufacturers because we are saving their children, literally. I mean it about that. I think, the vaccine and pharma is a very tricky field. Vaccine is a very tough field because it's given to the newborn baby to up to adults 85 years, from a newborn baby to that. Whereas pharma product is given to the infected, infectious baby or infectious person, and where you treat as a curative. So even if you have an adverse reaction, you're not noticed much. But the vaccine is given to healthy person, even a smallest of adverse reaction, it's been magnified very badly. And unfortunately, even sulfur drugs, the pharma drugs, also causes a reaction to the people. But that is not get highlighted. But unfortunately, even a small adverse reaction to the vaccine, it's been blown out of the proportion in the field, in the world. And that's unfortunate for us. And vaccine has become very tricky. And also vaccine is considered as a new drug. According to Indian Schedule Y, it's considered as a new drug. Even if you copy a vaccine, you still have to do preclinical toxicology, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4. So it's inevitable for that. That is the reason why many vaccine manufacturers are very few in the world. You look at US, only 2 vaccine manufacturers major, Pfizer, Merck. Come to Europe, again 2 vaccine manufacturers, GSK and Sanofi. So you go to Korea, again 2 manufacturers. India, we may have 4 manufacturers. But in China also, although many dominating players, but again few or 4 or 5 are the leading players. So vaccine people are very less. And coming to other part of the world, still not many players in the vaccine field. Come to developing world, other developing or Latin American world, not many leading players. So it's a very tough field. So that's why few players in the manufacturing base. So whatever now people are trying for Russian vaccine, all the people are trying is because they want a manufacturing base. And that's where the India stands out. The manufacturing base is one of the world's largest platform. In the India will be the largest platform. And I think we have done, we believe in one thing, India should stand out innovation. We don't want to copy what other countries have done, and we don't want to copy. So we as a company also, we very strongly believe that how do we grow as a vaccine company? So we said we believe that public-private partnership is the most important game. Because the problem is in this country is the government believes road construction as public-private partnership successful. But when it comes to knowledge-based industry, there's still trust is missing. And I think that's the way the knowledge-based industry is the one which really needs a public-private partnership. So I'm going to give a few examples how we made the public-private partnership. One of the first example we took is the Rotavirus Vaccine, which is the Indo-US bilateral program. Indo-US Vaccine Action Program. For the last 35 years, the program was going on. And I think out of the Indo-US VAP program, probably we are the first success story that we created in India. That is Rotavac. Today, Rotavac is our largest vaccine manufacturer, rotavirus manufacturers in the world. So we even higher than GSK or even Merck in terms of manufacturing capability. That speaks that we have capability even bigger than multinationals in terms of scaling up capacities. And now we're saving a lot of Latin American and African countries with a diarrheal disease, thanks to Indo-US bilateral program that helped us. And also in the bilateral program, including CDC, NIH, Stanford University, and a lot of other universities, more than 65 faculty members have helped us to how to build an efficacy trial in this country. And we are the first company to do efficacy trial in a newborn babies. Almost 10,000 newborn babies in 3 different places of India. That speaks that we were the first one to do efficacy trial. Nobody has done it. That too, a trial, a 6 months pregnant lady has to be given a consent to give their baby for a clinical trial. So a very sensitive field. And we got into it And thanks to Indo-US bilateral program that helped us to strategize positioning the product. And we published an international journal. Now, Honorable Prime Minister has launched the vaccine. Now, today, 25 million children in India are now getting vaccinated with Rotavirus Vaccine. So that's a significant contribution between Indo-US bilateral program. We made a success. And thanks to Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, they gave us a $265 million grant to fund various clinical trial programs. I would not have made this vaccine this efficient, but for this funding from the Gates Foundation. And I want to be grateful for that. And the second project is Typhoid Conjugate Vaccine. So India, I think this is the first new molecule came from India. So when Ajit Singh talked about the typhoid, I was really touched by that because he's talking about how the injectable into oral. And now we brought also injectable, but better generation vaccine than one. So this can go to newborn baby up to 85 years old. And it can protect the even antibiotic resistance challenging infections. And we have done human challenge studies in Oxford. We are probably the first company in the world to do human challenge studies in UK. Right in Oxford, we have done the human challenge in 125 people, where we got 90% efficacy in the human challenge studies, typhoid conjugate. And this is the first vaccine where WHO said a breakthrough vaccine for the antibiotic resistance, and children's dying because they're not responding to antibiotic problem. So antibiotic resistance problem. So I think we proud that at least that again, Gates Foundation gave $35 million to University of Maryland and also Oxford University to conduct a clinical trial in Burkina Faso, Malawi, Bangladesh, and Nepal. And recently, just 5-6 months back, we published in New England Journal of Medicine on typhoid conjugate efficacy coming out from Bangladesh. So we'll be coming out Nepal and Burkina Faso, Malawi. And again, thanks to Gates Foundation, they funded 2 academic institutes, and we were partner as industry partner to make this clinical trial happen other part of the world. I think this is the first time an Indian company going out of the country to do a lot of clinical trials. Never been done before. And I think coming to the COVID, how do we work on COVID? It's a very challenging task for us. So do we build our own our technology, or build public-private partnership? Yes, we have capability because we have done the chikungunya vaccine, taking from the infected person, we have taken the virus strain and made a chikungunya vaccine. And we also done a chikungunya vaccine using a reverse genetics approach. We made a Zika vaccine, first time in the world. Even CDC was not knowing Zika vaccine. And we were the first company to file a global patent on chikungunya as well as Zika vaccine. So we have pretty good knowledge on pandemic vaccine. But the problem is, in India, we don't get recognized. The pandemic comes, but nobody bothers. So, but we predicted this almost 10 years back. There will be a pandemic. We had to be prepared. When I was talking to all the government meeting, nobody was giving attention to that, unfortunately. But chikungunya came, we took the risk, and we took the money. But now, thanks to CEPI, they funded the $14 million for chikungunya vaccine development. Now, International Vaccine Institute, Seoul, Korea, is going to clinical trial in Manila, Thailand, and Colombia in Latin America. So we're going to do, again, 3 different clinical trials. Thanks to CEPI funded the project. Zika, we are in the phase 2 in India itself. So COVID, we took up 3 different strategies. First strategy, we want to work with ICMR and NIV because we need a partner. We want to do human challenge, animal challenge study, large animal studies, and also public partnership will make us fast track a lot of things for us. And thanks to ICMR Director General Balram Bhargav and NIV Priya Abraham, both were kind enough to join with us. And so we, fortunately what happened is we had a BSL, we are the only BSL-3 production facility in the world. Why US is doing mRNA vaccine and DNA vaccine? Because they don't have BSL-3 facility in US or even in Europe also. BSL-3 labs are there, but not production facility. Even China doesn't have BSL-3 facility. Now they're building, which should be ready by end of next year. So we are the first one. So we built for some other purpose, but it came in handy. So we said, okay, let's do the live vaccine, get it from the NIV and multiply that in a BSL-3 facility and make a vaccine. It's nothing new. It's an old platform technology, inactivated vaccine. You just grow the virus, you kill them and use that as a vaccine. It's a very old technology, 50 years old of technology. But we said, these are easier, safer. These vaccine can be given to newborn baby also. It can be given to pregnant lady also. and it can be given to 85 years old also. There will not be any adverse reaction. So we choose this strategy because newborn baby to adult, even if you want to give a 3 years old baby trial, somewhere clinical trial, it has to be protected in the school, kindergarten, this vaccine can be given. So we choose that. The second platform we chose is Thomas Jefferson. Again, we work with US Thomas Jefferson. We licensed an intellectual property, whereas rabies and COVID both are jointly chimeric protein. The chimeric protein is used as a platform to vaccinate both rabies as well as COVID. Rabies is a basic problem in the entire developing world. So you can vaccinate both the vaccine together with this sort of platform. That is in the preclinical toxicology. Third, we just announced yesterday, Washington University. The Washington University has developed, as Ajit Singh Saab was talking about it, so many syringes, 7 billion population, 7 billion population, 2-dose vaccine. That means, 14 billion syringes and 14 billion needles are required. That's a phenomenal upon pollution, environmental also problem, disposing those syringes and needles. We said we've been debating on this, what do we do? So we partnered with the Washington University, developed a nasal drop vaccine. So we have a 2-drop nasal that put that into nasal because Dr. Ajit Singh Saab told very clearly that respiratory pathogen. And respiratory pathogen, if you give any vaccine through nasal route, is always more potential than a systemic injectable system. So we choose that route, and now that is in the preclinical stage. Again, that vaccine, if that vaccine can come out, is easy to deliver even an uneducated person in the rural area, Mizoram, Nagaland, or even Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, can be given this vaccine without a doctor's help also. And we have done a rotavirus vaccine, 5-drop concept. And we were the first vaccine company in the rota to develop a 5-drop concept because we want to see the public health system at a grassroots level, how that can absorb a technology. You can develop a technology injectable, then it works at a metro level and tier 2, tier 1, 2 cities, but not below that level. It's very difficult. And you'll have, somebody can mix up with some other insulin as a diluent and mix it and again give it also. Some accidents have happened in India also like that. So we choose the drop concept. We brought the polio 2-drop concept, Rotavac as 5-drop concept. Now we want to bring Washington University as a 2-drop concept, nasal drop, so that it can be delivered to the 1 billion, 1.3 billion population. And also nice thing about the technology is it's a single-dose vaccine. So you don't need a 2-dose vaccine. So it also significantly compliances. When you have a first injectable vaccine, you give first dose, second dose, only 45% of the people come back to second dose in India, statistically. So 50% of people doesn't come for second dose. That means you cannot stop the transmission of the virus. The danger is if you're not 100% protected, that person is going to keep spreading the transmission again and again and again. That's more dangerous. So this single dose vaccine will prevent the transmission. So we expect this will be highly scalable. Both the vaccines are scalable, and we'll be all 3 vaccines. So we're looking at 3 different platforms. So people ask me, oh, is it you're not confident about a vaccine? We are confident for all 3 different platforms. The reason is one platform like inactivated might be good for children, pregnant ladies, and another one, nasal drop, may be good for adults and other teenagers. So we're looking at different platform technology. That's all. And I think India is ahead of the game, but we lost out a little bit, but we're trying to catch up now to the globe. Thank you, ma'am.
Fantastic. I mean, what a journey. It's so nice to hear all these things. We only read in papers, but not so comprehensively as you have put it, the whole journey. Very beautifully you have explained to us, Dr. Krishna. And I mean, between all of you, you're making us feel so comfortable. Everybody wants to know, when is this vaccine coming?
I mean, see, the vaccine is, you don't want to have adverse reaction. Thanks a lot. Thank God, our phase 1 and 2 was absolutely fabulously happened. And, the media people are going and talking to the volunteer, which are not supposed to be. They're going and talking to volunteers, collecting all the adverse reactions. They were even asking one volunteer, tell something you got a fever at least. So they were not even got the fever. So I think we thank God. I think we saved.
They want. They want to make it everything sensational.
Make it a sensational news, news. So I think thank God we had saved that. And I think we'll be doing a phase 3 trial from sometime next month. And many state governments, I'm grateful to all the many governments, at least 10 state governments, are proactively coming forward to help us on phase 3, which is going to be almost 30,000 people going to be vaccinated next month onwards. the phase 3 trial. We are with the CDSO, if it clears permission, if they give the permission, then we might be ready to start phase 3 next year, next month. If that happens, so we don't know how the parameters are going to be. So in terms of clinical trial, we are no less than US or Europe in terms of the number, statistics, adverse reaction, protocol, everything is exactly like that. So nothing less than that. People should be knowing that Indian vaccine, we're not doing like an Indian thing. We are looking at it as a global public health, not Indian health, global public health. We're doing everything according to the international parameter that is justifiable and also peer-reviewed by any international people that can be. So we've done a human monkey challenge studies, NIV, thanks to NIV. They have done monkey challenge studies. We got probably this is the best monkey challenge studies in the world. Any vaccine companies, all the vaccine companies which is produced, including Moderna and Oxford, everybody. If you look at the data, even Chinese, all of them, you look at it, probably ours was the best data of the monkey challenge studies, which is just peer reviewed now. It's in the going to be publication. So I think we've shown that even the monkeys, upper lung and lower lung, all free from the thing. We can almost call as a sterilizing immunity. That means when a vaccinated person, the virus is not touching even lung cells. Even single cell is not touched by the virus. Wow. That we call as a sterilizing immunity. When Ajit Singh Saab was talking about it, post effect of the COVID is somebody get infected, but they get recovered the infection. But my worry is how much is lung damage has happened. If that lung damage, is it going to carry forward next 20, 25 years? Is the more scary part that. Okay, so they may not know it in the short run, but in the long run, we do not know what will happen. So that is what is scary part for us, this thing. But definitely the vaccine is crucial, both to create a more herd immunity faster. Because we got only, not even 5% of the Indian population has been infected yet. 95% still not infected. So that means we are still waiting for a lot of other problems. So I think to create more herd immunity faster, the vaccine is crucial. Thank you, ma'am.
Excellent. I mean, really, you really explained everything so well, and very happy to hear all this. And before I thank him, and we have a small thing to give you all, I just want to just mention 3-4 programs which are coming up, so that since everybody is here and all the listeners are here, I'll just mention some of this. We have some programs coming up as an annual series. 26th, we have Justice Arjun Kumar Sikri, former Supreme Court judge, and Darius Kambata and Vyapak Desai, and Mr. Suresh Kotak and Dr. Lalit Basin doing a session about dispute resolution landscape between India and US. And thereafter, we have ease of investing in India. We have Deepak Bagla from Invest India, MD, and Daniel Robin, MD, IN3 Capital Partners, Alok Agrawal, CFO, Reliance Industries, and Shrikant Bapat, Country General Manager and Managing Director, Johnson Controls India, and Vishal Bakshi is the founder and managing partner at Avatar Growth Capital Partners. And we have on 29th, and once again, annual convention series, special address by our Honorable Ambassador, Mr. Kenneth Jester, US Ambassador to India. And then we have another series on the same day, led by Mr. C.P. Gurnani, CEO of Tech Mahindra, regarding ease of doing business in US. And Eileen Nandi, Minister of Council for Commercial Affairs, US Embassy, New Delhi. Shiv Shankar, Group Executive President, Corporate Strategy, Business Development, Aditya Birla Group. Mr. Rajendra Gupta, Chairman, Triton Group. GP Hinduja, Co-Chairman, Cyprus Systems, Hinduja Group. Hemant Luthra, Advisor, Clayton, Dubley and Rice. I'm just mentioning this because they're all back-to-back programs. Just in case you're interested, I want you all to join, and it will be on our website. And before I sort of really give it to Mr. Jaisheelan, yes, sir.
I just want to thank my friend Jaisheelan. I don't know where he finds the time. Indian Pharmaceutical Association, you're there, he takes all the energy level. I think if you put that energy in some other company, would have done better. But he puts a lot of social activities, and I want to thank him for that.
Yes. we just want to thank you. A small, humble thing that we want to give all of you, both of you, a small tree which is kept, it's going to grow in Bombay in your name. And
Thank you.
that certificate we'll send you. Trupti, can you show that, please? Trupti, are you showing this? Huh, okay. Of course, it's first is come to Mr. Jaiseelan. Nani Krupani, who is just left, we'll send it to him. Dr. Krishna Ella, honored with a bountiful tree, so that in Mumbai, we will plant it and it will grow tall, big, like how you're expanding your business in pharma industry. Thank you very much, Dr. Ella. This is our humble small thing to make it green, our country. And Mr. Ajit Singh, the doyen of pharma industry, we are honored to have you, a bountiful tree in your name in Mumbai region. Thank you so much for having come here and honored us with your presence and your kind words and address.
Nobody said anything about Raja Lakshmi. I'll just take half a minute. Raja Lakshmi has a very active life and career. Besides being on the board of several companies, she's also been appointed by the government on the Consumer Redressal Council. She fights for the consumer and she is a great fighter. Don't come in her way. But I know her also outside her work in the evenings. She is sparkling, she is charming, she is also extremely versatile, and she is most accomplished. So thank you very much, Raja Lakshmi, for having us all on this program.
So sweet of you, Ajit. Thanks a lot for that introduction. And now may I request Mr. Jaiseelan. Mr. Jaiseelan is not only with other pharma industry, but he is our chairman of the Tamil Nadu branch of Indo-American Chamber of Commerce. And he has helped me to put it all together. He told me you must do a US FDA. And I requested Mr. Ajit Singh. So with their help, we somehow managed a beautiful show in the morning. And it was very well attended and they spoke very, very well. Both the director and the deputy director from US FDA. And Perizad had also spoken very well, and American speakers had come, the expertise and all that. It's a beautiful morning on pharma. Technical, but it was still understandable for people like me. And now I request Mr. Jaiseelan, thank you first of all for helping me, and you can give the vote of thanks and concluding remarks.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Sir, before going to vote of thanks, only one question with Dr. Krishna. People are asking, I thought, let me take that opportunity and asking you. They're all talking about the different mutation on this virus, whether our vaccines which are in progress will be able to control all type of coronavirus, or we'll have a lot of challenges yet.
See, the RNA viruses mutate so rapidly. People doesn't have to worry about it, but the very restricted region where it is very important for the virus, it doesn't mutate so much. So where the head is important, head is not mutated, remaining other regions it mutates. Not important for us. So we also check the homotypic, heterotypic strains, and we're also going to be checking soon 20C in Orissa, the new clade which appeared in Orissa, which seems to be only very specific to Orissa. We are going to get that virus also check that whether it neutralizes. So the people doesn't have to worry about it. It's unnecessarily some theoretical question comes up. Even if there is a mutation, our platform technologies are same. We can plug and play. And flu vaccine people, they do the same thing all the time. So when you have strain changes in Hong Kong strain, so we plug in another strain and make it happen next year. So whatever you see this year's season is different from the next year. So I think people doesn't have to be concerned. And I think vaccine industry understands this. And some people say 50% efficacy is good or not good and all that. When US has created 50% because when putting an mRNA vaccine in a high-risk vaccine like this, they want to encourage manufacturers to come forward okay, to even a 50%, at least let us start somewhere science and build on the science. So you want 100%, no vaccine will work. So no antibiotic also works for any infectious disease also, 100%. That's why they give 2-3 antibiotics combined. So I think, people doesn't have to be scared of that. Once vaccine comes, we know how to, suppose vaccine gives you 70%, then you increase it to 90% by adding some adjuvant. So we can figure out the issues afterwards. So people doesn't have to worry about it, but we need to get something into the field where it gives you a minimum 60-70% efficacy and then move on up. So some of the vaccines may be giving 80%, 90% also. But the regulators put the 50% because they want to encourage people to come forward to take risks and move on. So people should look at different angle on that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. On behalf of Indo-American Chamber, I take this privilege in thanking our speaker, Dr. Krishna Ella, Mr. Ajit Singh, Mr. Nanik Rupani, and particularly on Dr. Krishna, sir, your speech itself is a booster dose for us. We will wait for your vaccine, but today you made it was so confident that we are very eager to take your vaccine at the earliest. And we are very proud when you said this, every second vaccine taken in the world is from India. Bharat Biotech is really a merit for our Bharat. Trust is missing, you mentioned, in public-private partnership, in knowledge-based industries, but you are overcoming by doing multiple trials across various countries, particularly in growing countries, small countries. Hats off to you. And only thing when you mentioned, you are predicting 10 years before itself with multiple people. As usual, we all left, and henceforth we will watchful to you. We want to work with you, and henceforth our future generation should not see this kind of pandemic. And when you mentioned about BSL-3 production facility, it's really a feather on your cap. Very nice. And nasal drop vaccine is a wonderful idea. We wish all the best for you to come out successfully with that vaccine. On behalf of Indo-American Chamber, we respect your time and your contribution, your speech for this evening. Thank you very much for you. Thank you very much for enlightening us on vaccine. Thank you, sir. Mr. Ajit Singh, sir, we all know, entire pharma industry knows Mr. Ajit Singh. ACG means whether we know your machine or not, your name is very familiar. You have put, like what Ella sir said, you are a visionary person. You have clearly, within few minute time, you explained how alternative dosage form of vaccine is so important, because it's not easy of putting injectable vaccines in billions and billions of people. Very well thought, and it is very difficult to produce injection. That would be another industry. So very nicely mentioned. Thank you, sir, for your contribution to the healthcare. And as Nanik Rupani said, how difficult today was managing healthcare. It is today, it's everywhere COVID. Other healthcare people are getting suffered. We all need to travel across with hope of Bharat Biotech, like companies coming handy with vaccines. We will overcome these challenges. Thank you, everybody, every delegate who participated here. On behalf of IACC, I thank the National President, Mr. Rajalakshmi Rao, for organizing a pharma convention at the right juncture, which is a need of the hour. Thank you, madam. And I thank Kamal Vora, Dr. Parshit, Trupti, entire IACC team for organizing this webinar in a wonderful way. Thank you all. Good evening.
And we thank you,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Ajit.